So it's my conversation this evening is probably going to take a different dimension from possibly what you have been used to in terms of listening to me. So what I want to do, I have about 12 things that I've called my 12 hours. R as in PQR, my 12 hours that have helped me in my journey so far. And let me say that I do not consider, if everyone can just mute please, if you can just mute so that we can reduce the interference. Everyone please mute your mic, please. Thank you. So that we can reduce the interference, right? Okay, so I was talking about the 12 hours, things that I think, in my opinion, have helped me through the journey. And I was saying that, let me quickly lay a foundation. I do not see myself as being successful yet. We are all on this journey together. All of us. We're all on this journey. Maybe I started the journey a bit earlier than you guys, and that's about it. That's probably one of the things that may qualify me to be speaking with you at this time. But sincerely, I learn every day from younger people. I have a couple of people in my inner circle, like we use an expression, who I learn from every day, and they are my reverse mentors. So, the 3 hours. Let me start with what I call resilience, especially from the point of view of individuals who are still seeking to find their level. So I was saying that the first thing on my mind to share with you is resilience. And this is because, like I said, a couple of people listening to me right now might just be starting the journey towards finding that career path that may seem elusive to so many people. And nobody is blaming nobody. It is true that we are churning out so many graduates. It is true that the jobs are fewer in the market right now. But that's one side of the story. That's one mindset. The other mindset that I want you to build is that of resilience. And this is how I define it. If you've read anything about adversity quotient before, I'd like to tell you that you should not be weary in the pursuit of that which you are focused on, and that in terms of your career, what you want to do. I am assuming, of course, that you've got to focus. I'm assuming, of course, that you've got an idea of what you want to do. I'm assuming that you have written down goals and objectives. I'm assuming that you spend time in the future, considering the things that you want to do, the things that you want to be. So if I ask you now to paint the picture of the future for me, I expect that you'll be able to do that easily. Those are assumptions. And if my assumptions are wrong, then maybe you need to take 1 or 2 steps back and try and fashion out exactly what your future is going to be like. The future is not going to happen to you suddenly. You've got to make it happen. So I'm assuming that those things are in place. Now, as you now continue your journey towards achieving your goal, towards achieving your objective, reaching down a vision and mission for yourself, for your career, it will not happen exactly the way you envisage it. Some people might just be lucky, it's not impossible, and they think, oh, I'm just going to leave school, I'm going to do NYC, right after NYC, I am going to get my dream job. Does it happen? Of course it does. No doubt, it does. But does it happen for everybody or for the majority of us? Maybe not. Maybe not. And that's where I'm saying to you that you need to build your muscles ahead of time for future challenges that will come. Recently, I put up a post on my LinkedIn page about my journey towards finding my career path. I did not have an idea that I was going to be an HR person, but I promised you that there were some things that I had an idea what I wanted to do. In broad terms, very broad terms, what I said to myself was that I wanted to be successful in my career. I have shared this experience with some people before, that my mom was a teacher and she thought that the tradition was going to continue in the family. But I had other plans. I totally had other ideas. Wanted to change my course of study from English to law. It didn't happen. And I said to myself, because of the daily exposure I had to Daily Times. At that time, MBA was a big thing, and I said to myself, Yemi, right after first degree, you need to do an MBA because I couldn't change to law. So that was my own focus. That was my idea. That was what the future was going to be like. I thought MBA was going to make me ride towards what I wanted to be. And as life would have it, it happened. I really did an MBA right after NYC. But the point is, let me also say 2 or 3 steps backwards that I made a kind of agreement with myself that I was going to make the best grades possible out of school. I tried to make a first, but I didn't. I'm on the 2-1. I combined that with my MBA, and then I thought, okay, yeah, MBA done, let's come to Lagos and let's rule the world. It took me 8 solid months to get my first job after that. And that is where the issue of resilience is coming in for me. You've got to build enough capacity within yourself to be able to ride the tide towards what you want to achieve. Because if you do not have that internal capability, internal capacity to ride the tide, then you are easily so discouraged. You need to build muscles for future challenges. So for all of us right now who are going through, when am I going to start a job? When am I going to start another job? Or when am I going to go ahead in my career? My message is that build resilience. It's going to happen, but it might not happen exactly the way you envisage that it might happen. But what I've noticed in my 25, 26-year journey also is that ultimately, every step that we take today ends up being critical or a critical part of what we are becoming. So, do not, number one, if you are at a stage of small beginning, do not neglect the lessons you are learning through that process. That's number one. Number two, if you have not started at all, and you're saying to yourself or to me, I mean, there is even no lesson learned, I haven't started anything, I'll say to you that today is Saturday, right? Again, or maybe later today, online, still go ahead and apply for that job. I'd like, the resilience for me is a picture of a stone cutter, somebody who cuts a big stone. So if you put a big stone, let's assume it's this big in front of me right now, and I've got a hammer that I use to cut a stone. I continually hit the stone, right? I do not know exactly what strike will split the stone into 2, but I continually hit it until it splits into 2. And that's to say that the more you try, the more you increase your possibilities of success. Do not think that because you've done it once or twice and you're not getting results, then it is time to despair, or it is time to blame the government, to blame Buhari, to blame the economy, to blame the world, to blame COVID, to blame everything. Blame your parents. They didn't send you to school or to go to school. You didn't meet people. I mean, it is not the time to despair. It's not the time to blame anyone. It's time to look inwards and take lessons learned from every of your experience as you move towards the mark that you set for yourself. And remember, I said that if you have not set any mark, this is probably the best time for you to start. So you've got to build. It's like a car, right? I promise you that great cars, one of the attributes of great cars is, I love cars. One of the attributes is that they build solid shock absorbers into great cars, so that even if you move into rough terrain and you're sitting in the car, the journey still becomes a bit less bumpy because of the solid shock absorbers built into the system of the car. Is the same way for us. As we move through the vicissitudes of our career journeys, it is important for us to build resilience as part of the shock absorbers. Before, I just watched Chelsea almost beaten now by West Brom, and there were 6 goals. I promised you, if you look at the statistics of the game, you will see that maybe Chelsea had 17 attempts and West Brom had 10 or 11. But eventually, only 3 goals were scored on either side. What I'm trying to say is that for every goal that is scored, there were many misses. But we're not going to stop making progress towards our goal or our plan because we are missing on goals. So keep shooting, keep trying. Role again. Go for that interview. If you do not get if you did not get a positive response last week or week before the last, try again. Somebody who is within my inner circle has been frustrated for like three months now, and the individual was at an interview on Friday and said to me, I don't know why, but this person calls me Papa at my young age. I don't understand. I'm a millennial, by the way. This person says, please pray for me. I'm about to do another interview. I said, take your mind away from the interview. See it as another conversation. Learn from what we have discussed. You understood the job description. You understood the organization. You understood the role, what you want to do. Just concentrate. About 2 hours later, this person called and said, I got the job. And this, I promise you, there were weeks of despair, weeks of discouragement because it didn't happen. So you've got to build resilience into it. You've got to just keep going. Wake up Monday morning and try again. Wake up on Wednesday and try again. Don't just give it up. That's my first R. And that helped me in my journey of 8 months landing the first job. Because of the 2-1 that I made, because of my MBA, I promise you, I did tests from GTB, Intercontinental Bank. Some of you might not know Intercontinental Bank, Universal Trust Bank. In those years, 2-1 opened the door for us to at least test. I wrote Zenith. I mean, Zenith was particularly painful for me. I still remember the experience till today because I did the test, passed the test, and I did the interviews. They didn't have EDs at that time. In fact, the first person in the organization was not a managing director; it was a GM. No, it was a managing director and 4 GMs. I remember that I had conversations. If I hear you call me Papa, who's that? Najim. I would throw you out of this conversation now. Okay, so let me continue. Now, I had interviews with 4 GMs, and all 4 interviews were successful. Remember that I was trying different tests and different interviews. All of them were successful, and honestly, it was a given. The only thing for me to do, this was in 1995, the only thing left for me to do was to see Jimovia, the MD. 1995 till now, how many years? About 25 years. I'm still waiting. 25. I'm still waiting to see Jimovia till today. I'm not kidding you. It just didn't happen. Nobody contacted me till today to say you're going to see Jimovia. That was quite painful for me because I thought, yeah, that was it. I remember another one, Aforementioned. I took the test, I did the interviews. A guy, if he's listening to me anywhere in the world now, let him listen. His name is Shebe Jobi. It was him that stopped, well, maybe he didn't stop, that stopped my progress towards moving on. He asked me a question. He said, if the fan was moving, I mean, I'll never forget, this was like 20-something years ago. If the fan was moving and you threw water at the fan, in which direction would the water go? And I looked up, there was no fan in the office, just AC. I didn't know the answer, end of the interview, I didn't get the job. But about 3 years later, I still got into that same organization as a senior consultant. Right? So do not give up. Be resilient in your pursuit of your goals. It is not enough for you to want to have goals. It's not enough for you to have them written down, like so many motivational speakers will say. Just write it down and read it every day, 7 times to yourself. In 7 days, something will happen. It might not, and it might happen in 3 days. But the point is, you've got to be resilient. You see if you want to check the heartbeat of man, it doesn't go on a straight road. It goes up and down. The ECG thing, it goes up and down, and that is to show you that life is moving. It's never a straight line. Some people within our inner circle, I admit, might have it easier, but it's not the general norm. So don't give it up because it's not happening yet. That's the conversation. Don't give it up because it's not happening yet. It's time. Keep trying. What you shouldn't miss, what you shouldn't lose, however, is the learning that you take from every experience, from every step, from every part of the journey. the experience, the learnings are staring you in the face. Take them with you. My personal learning through that journey of 8 months, and I was doing tests and interviews, was that I was getting better at interviews. My communication skills were getting better. My confidence to sit in front of GMs, Sheyi Baker said at Anderson then, the confidence was being built up. So take lessons with you, but be resilient in your pursuit of your goals. That's my number one, resilience. Number two, responsibility. 5 minutes. Take responsibility for your own action. Resilience. Let me quote somebody before I move on. The struggles along the way are only made to shape you for your purpose. Who said that? Let somebody quickly tell me who said that. The struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. Who said it? I'm waiting for the first person that will tell me the... Yeah, go ahead, please record. It's fine. Who said that? No, don't tell me that you guys don't read. I'm waiting. The guy who passed on recently, the Wakanda guy, you guys did not read it. That was what he said. That your struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. So guys, please be resilient in the pursuit of your purpose. You are looking for a job right now. That job will probably become a career, or you are in a career right now. Ultimately, thank you, it was Chadwick. Ultimately, you are going to be finding purpose. So what you are going through right now, by the time you connect the dots of life backwards, everything just makes sense because you're on the journey towards finding purpose. Number two, responsibility. Take ownership of your actions. Don't blame the world. Take ownership. It is nobody's responsibility for you to succeed. It is not the organization's responsibility for you to succeed, not the government's responsibility. You can tell me, but Yemi, in other climes, the government is taking on a lot more responsibility to make sure that the individual succeed. Well, happy for them. You will be surprised that in that same environment, there are individuals who will be saying that, one, the government isn't good enough, and two, they are not succeeding despite all that the government is doing. The ultimate responsibility to succeed, to forge ahead, to move on, lies with you. Take responsibility for your actions. Don't blame the world for your failures. And I've said this before, that our failures are a sign of strength. It just shows that we dare to try. One of the reasons why I see people not taking responsibilities for their actions, or not even taking action at all, is because of the incidents of failure behind them. What we should do is actually look at the failure or the events of failure behind us and just say to ourselves that we tried. You'll get better the next time. Take responsibilities for your action. The grand loser is the individual who does not do anything at all. Incrementally, take responsibility for who you are becoming. Incrementally, and I use that word deliberately. What I mean is this: compete with yourself. I think it was yesterday, somebody asked me, who's my fiercest competitor? And I answered me. I am absolutely competing with myself. I only want to be better than the guy I was yesterday. So take responsibility to be better. The opportunities that will come to you will meet you in a good place if your level of preparedness is very high. Life from time to time gives us some freebies. Actually, life gives us freebies from time to time, maybe not every day. But I have found out that the individuals who take advantage of those freebies are the individuals who get ready before the freebies come. I'm using freebies and opportunities interchangeably. When those opportunities come, the individuals who will take advantage will be those who are ready. So question is, how ready are you from a value perspective? How ready are you? How ready are you in terms of developing yourself on a daily basis? Take responsibility. It is not your boss who's going to do that. It is not your mom, not dad. It is not the government, like I said. It is no one but you. You've got to take responsibility for your actions. At times, we win. in life, at times we lose. So many times life is a draw. But every time we learn, we take responsibility for what worked, take responsibility for what didn't work. Oh, it's not easy to come by capital to start a business in this country. And I promise you that some people are starting businesses within the same economy, right? And they have access to finance. The first thing that we need to battle with is our mindset. I've found out that the mindset is such that we want to take a defeatist approach at times to the things that we should do or the things that we can't do just because 1, 2, 3 things didn't work in the past. Take responsibility for forging ahead, for moving on. Fail and fail very fast. Let me give you an example in terms of failure. I thought I was brilliant when I was in secondary school. I thought I was very, very brilliant. So when it was time for me to write my school certificate, I wasn't reading. I promise, I wasn't kidding, guys. I mean, soccer was my instinct. I loved to play soccer. So when we had part 1 of literature, for example, in the morning, and we'll finish at about 12, usually 3-hour paper, 9 to 12, and then it will be 2 to 4, 2 to 5 for part 2. You will find Yemi Faseun playing soccer between 12 and 2. I'm not kidding you, right? But because I thought I was brilliant, because my grades had been good up to that point, I thought WAEC was going to be an easy ride. But by the time results came out, I had I'm so happy to share from time to time my failure story, so that people don't see that where we are today is a definition of who we are. Where we are today is not the definition of who we are. I have failed before. So I failed quickly. I had 4 credits that wasn't going to take me anywhere. It wasn't going to take me to any poly or any university. And I had to go back to do A-levels. It was at A-levels that I knew again how to sit down and read, how to go to the library to read, how to go back to school, sir, because I still have 4 credits. Remember, how to go back to school, sir, despite the fact that I was running A-levels, to sit down to, on my own, I read commerce from textbooks. I faced the exams and I had an A2. But if I didn't fail, one of the things I think about in my quiet moments, guys, and I'm not kidding you, is this. If I had managed to have 5 credits at that time, I would have gone with the delusion that I was brilliant into the university, and the results would have been very bad. I promise you, right? But because I went through that process of failing quickly, learning quickly, adjusting my goals, taking responsibility, before I got into the university, as soon as I got my admission, I knew how to calculate my GPA on a semester by semester basis for me to make a first class or a 2-1 at the very best. Right? So you know that thing they say that if you reach for the sun, maybe ultimately you might just be able to make it to the stars. So I was aiming for a first time, I made a 2-1. But the experience of failure earlier, when I was writing my school certificate, helped me, put me into shape, because I felt battered by life because of my own unseriousness, reality. So if you want to fail quickly, fail forward, move on, but take responsibility for the next steps. There's no, you know what we say, we millennials, no time for time. Don't sit down and think about what caused your downfall, why it didn't work. I know 2-3 people who are listening to me right now who have just recently been the victims of a business climate situation and might not have jobs right now. But the point is, it's not going to stop us from trying again. I promise you, if you read my profile, there's so many things you won't see there. I have been laid off a job before as well. I was head of HR in that organization, but I was laid off. The same organization I joined, they gave me a sign-on bonus of 15 million naira. I was promoted the year after I joined. A year after, in the same organization, I was laid off. I was told to find something else. So it's all like that for all of us. But again, we need to take responsibility. It took me 9 months to find something else. I was still in that job, but I was moved away from my role into you could call it a lower role, right? From a larger portfolio to a smaller one, but I was told to find something else. But the point is, I had to take responsibility for the next steps. And the last thing I'll say is relevance. So remember the first thing we said was what? Who can remind me, what was the first thing? The first R. I said I was going to talk about 3 or 4
Resilience.
Resilience. And if you want to read about it, read about adversity quotient. Yeah. The second was what?
Responsibility.
Take responsibility for the next steps. Take responsibility for where you're coming from, right? And the third thing is to be relevant. Be relevant, and I'm going to use a word that is all encompassing. Be relevant within your ecosystem. Wherever you find yourself in the drive or journey of life, be relevant. Constantly make yourself relevant in the workplace. If you have a job right now, constantly make yourself relevant within your immediate environment. Could be family, could be church, could be the mosque, could be old boys association, could be anything. Constantly make yourself relevant. I say this from a relevance perspective. When people have had a conversation with you, leave them with something to want to continue that conversation with you later. That's relevance, right? I met a friend of mine this morning at Garment Care when I went to pick up my laundry, and we're talking about, he still works at Standard Chartered Bank. I worked at Standard Chartered Bank between 2002 and 2006, and we're talking about individuals who had moved on. Now, the interesting thing was that in a particular unit of department, there were about 3 or 4 guys who have gone on to do great things. But you know what he said to me that really kept me thinking from that time? He said, but Yemi, you remember that their boss at that time, the Pakistani, he said the guy had continued since that time to move them like chessboards within the Standard Chartered Bank global spaces, still looking out for them. And that is because of relevance in the workplace. The guys, it's not a Godfather situation, not Godfatherism. It is because the guys who have been good, they've proven to go, and what he said was that, and those boys have not disappointed him till now. So when he sent them to South Africa to go and head global market, they returned that investment to him. When he sent another one to the UK, Standard Chartered Bank UK, global market or treasury, the same thing, and they returned his return from a vote of confidence perspective. They've returned it to him because of their own relevance. Now, relevance to you may also mean that people will know who you are, the value that you bring to the conversations, the value that you bring to the ecosystem, and they'll be able to refer you to a job. We are moving more and more into the spaces where you do not always need to go to LinkedIn to get a job or go to a recruitment portal to get a job. We are moving into the phase of relationship. But the point is, there's going to be something about you that will make me refer you for a job. So from a relevance perspective, value is everything. If you're not adding value, you're not adding anything, and nobody's going to give you anything. Now, value is what the marketplace pays for you. It's one thing for you to show up. It's another thing for you to value up. Value up is showing up is primary. By all means, even if the weather isn't good, just show up. But in addition to that, keep your relevance within your ecosystem. And I'm speaking more especially to individuals who are already within the workspaces, right? Make sure that your relevance is a value-adding relevance to the business. And you'll be surprised that when the door is shut and there's some conversation about you going on, you are not there, 1, 2, 3 people will be able to speak for you. And I have seen that happen since 1999, since I joined the space of HR. So many times, conversations are had about people when they're not in the room. It is at times it's just one voice that might save you. They might have skipped that name for promotion. They might have skipped that name for a salary review. Somebody will just call everybody back and say, "Hey guys, wait a minute. Today we haven't really discussed that guy today. He worked with me on a project, and this is what he brought to that particular project." So in our daily attempt to not be too lost in the things happening around in the present, can I also encourage us that we should spend more time as well in the future in terms of what we want to be and continue to be relevant within our ecosystem. In terms of relevance, this is what I said finally. I said, will anything be missed once you call time in your current role, your current neighborhood, your current family, maybe you need to move on and get married or something, will people miss anything? Will they say, oh, when this guy was here, we will have been able to solve this Excel or PowerPoint or whatever it is, or BI issue? Or would they say, wow, if you say that you want to leave and you want to give 1 month notice, they'll say, no, don't worry, you can go now, we'll pay you to go. Because there is no relevance. So what will people miss about you when you leave that particular place? What are you going to leave your audience with when it's time to move on? So those 3 things are part of my 12 hours. I have them all about 12, the things that I've seen work for me. But let me leave you with those 3 this evening. Number 1, we said be resilient. It will not always work out the way you want it to work out. Get ready, right? I mean, there was another question I asked on my WhatsApp status about 3-4 days ago. I said, when do we build strength? Is it during adversity or before? And it was controversial. Some people thought it should be before. Some people thought it should be during. And the question is, the guy who wants to climb a mountain, when should that individual build strength in readiness to climb the mountain? At the time when he or she is climbing the mountain or before? Of course, both times. Because you must have been ready for that period. And as you are also climbing that mountain, you are building up muscles. Even if you fail and you go back to the base of the mountain and you try again, you are not starting from the scratch. You've learned a couple of lessons. So build resilience, like I said, like a car. Build shock absorbers into your system in readiness for the journey ahead. Number 2, we talk about what? We talk about responsibility. Take responsibility for your actions. You are solely or primarily responsible for what happens to you next. Even if you were not responsible for what happened to you in the past, take this message going forward from today, that you are responsible for what happens to you going forward. And do not sublet that responsibility to someone else. Please take ownership. And the last thing, like I said, is relevance. Be relevant to your ecosystem. You just do not know who's watching, who's listening. Whatever it is, people are reading you. They are watching you more than the things you are saying to them. So when you leave that ecosystem, what are people going to miss about you? All that, if you put all of that together, the journey might just be a little bit easier. Part of relevance is value. Remember, I love the word value. Add value to yourself on a daily basis. When you have done Instagram and Facebook, and you have done Z-World and Africa Magic and all of that, spend time to add value to yourself. Get ready for the opportunities that will come, because life throws freebies at us from time to time. But it is only the individuals who are ready that will be able to take advantage of those freebies. It's 8:43. I really tried, but I'm sorry, I have to stop at this point so that people can ask questions before we wrap up at about 9 o'clock. Thank you for listening to me.
That was awesome. A lot of things to learn about 12 hours. I've actually been reading a lot of things and on my tools. Like your questions now.
Individuals can ask questions in the chat box. I'm reading, or it could be they could ask me. They could say anything.
It could be both.
It could be both. Absolutely. Yes. Eben, thank you. I see you. We'll catch up. We are checking a particular table on LinkedIn at the moment. Yeah, we'll catch up on LinkedIn later. How can we trust the process? Oh yeah. In fact, interestingly, I like that. One of the things. What I wrote on my WhatsApp status 3 days ago was exactly that. Trust the process. Now, your process is going to be different from my process. That's Yemi, my namesake, Odubote. You will only be able to trust the process if you are not looking at the process in isolation. Look at the process as part of the entire journey towards your envisaged future. Then you will put it into context. So trusting the process means be resilient. Do not give it up now. Trust the learnings coming out of this. Because when ultimately you connect it backwards, it will make sense. That is trusting the process. Trusting the process is not fixated on what's happening right now. Trusting the process is letting your focus, your goals, your objectives lie where you're going, be the overriding factor in terms of you considering everything happening to you. But it takes for you to constantly also have a personal conference with yourself. And by personal conference, this is what at 12 o'clock or 2 a.m., wake up yourself and say, Yemi, let's have a talk. What's going on? What are the lessons learned? So it is trusting the process to say that I am not being judged or measured by where I am today. Where I am going is more important than where I am. That is trusting the process. What should I do when you keep giving value and it's not appreciated? Should I seek more opportunities or keep speaking to managers in the same organization? Okay, so if you're working in a toxic environment, for instance, and you are not appreciated, I will not say that you should get up and go. What I always say is make a plan to go. I mean, again, the new generation, we are 2-3 years in an organization and we move on. Loyalty, if you ask me, loyalty is to myself and to my career. I am on my 11th job right now, and let's be real. In terms of the age difference between majority of you listening to me and myself, it probably could be about 2 or 3 decades. It's not impossible, right? But the point is, I've done 11 jobs. I have not stayed in a place where I thought, I'm not being appreciated. I add value on a daily basis. However, I'm happy with the salary. 29 days, I moan and groan. By 30th day, payday, I'm happy, and thank God it's Friday. Let's go and rock. By Monday, we start the cycle all over again. No. We make plans to get up and go. So don't just get up and go if you're not appreciated. Yes, by all means, once you know that you have outgrown an organization or you have outgrown a job and nothing seems to be happening, please don't stay. That's my honest advice. Look for other opportunities. Other organizations are out there possibly looking for exactly your type of. Join them. Speak to them. Are you scared that, it might not work out? If it doesn't work out, you move on again. Only one life to live. That's the reality. So please, if you're not appreciated, make plans to look for other options. Sir, you mean add value to myself also means adding relevant, means reading relevant books alone. What other means to add value? Books are a great resource for adding value. If I'm going to summarize my journey so far, I'll say that God's grace, primarily, and also the books that I've read after school have been of tremendous value to me. Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Anthony Robbins. I mean, I was reading those books as if my life depended on them, sincerely. I read Who Moved My Cheese. It changed my perception about change management, right? I read The Iceberg is Melting. Great books, very small books, short books, but you find things that will help you to keep your relevance. Things that will give you that will add to your AQ, that's adversity quotient, which is speaking to resilience, right? The point is, yes, read books technically for your advancement in your career. Technically, I'm saying as an accountant, be chartered. If you're an HR person, write your CIPM. If you're an economist, you want to do an MBA, by all means. But beyond all of that, there are other things that you need to read that will speak to life, speak to the journey, speak to those who have gone ahead of you, and they can share their experiences with you. Okay, I can see many questions, so I'll try. Okay, which one have I missed now? I'm trying to not miss anyone. Okay. Biaru, can you see the questions if you can help me? Anything I've missed?
Okay, yes. Someone's asked a question. So the person said, between skills and certificates, which of the two is more relevant?
Skills, clearly. skills. We don't need to waste time on that. What certification does is to validate your skills and experience. If you come to me today and you bring 10 certificates or certifications, professional, right? But you cannot show me how the knowledge you gained from them added to your skills on the job, then it makes no relevance to me. Absolutely none. But if you have skills and experience and qualification, and you can demonstrate how that allows you to solve business problems for me, then that's fine. So let me shock you as I answer that question. I did not have any additional qualification until 2 years ago. And that was when I joined CIPM 2 years ago. I did not have any qualification. All the jobs that I'd done over the last 20-something years, up to 2 years ago, was just basically my first degree and my MBA. But the point is, I read and acquired knowledge that allowed me to solve business problems and therefore advance in my career. However, please, if certification will lead to you adding to knowledge that will come help you solve problems in the place of work, by all means, go for it. Yeah. You're the next one.
There is another question. Yes. Now, someone said, I want to transit from customer service 5 years experience to human resources. How do I go about it? Presently out of job.
Whatever life offers you to do at the moment, do it and do it well, right? I have a couple of people speaking to me in this, what I call a quagmire right now. Yeah. Some are in customer service roles. I know somebody who's in operations in a bank, has been doing this for 8 years, wants to move to HR. I didn't start with HR. So I actually do not have any joker out of my pocket to give to you. The way some people have moved to the space of HR, the stories are different. However, you cannot move to another role if you're not doing the one you are doing very well. Whatever you're doing right now, be the best at it. Be the best customer service person, be the best salesperson, be the best accountant before you can move to another role. No one will listen to you or refer you to another job if you're not doing the one you're doing very well. So whatever life offers you, do it well whilst you are looking and waiting for the next opportunity. There is no joker about or 7 steps to moving from customer service to HR. No, none. Continue to develop your interest. Continue to add knowledge to yourself within the space of HR. If you have opportunities and somebody says, oh, I need somebody to work with me on a project over a weekend period, and you have free time, go and do it, learn, so that you can have robust conversations around human resources when the opportunities finally come.
Okay. I think this question from Google, she's been trying us to get this one. So she said, how do you deliver value and not at the same time look like you're robbing your competence in the face of your team members or line man?
I didn't get that. The network was cracking.
How do you deliver value and not at the same time? How do you deliver value and not at the same time look like you're robbing your competence in the face of your team members or line manager?
If your line manager is not competent or as competent as you are, okay, so that's another one, because there's a whole model on how to manage your boss. The point is, let us all know, in terms of our relationship with our bosses, our primary responsibility is to make our boss look good. Nobody should run away from that fact. Quote me anywhere. Your responsibility is to make your boss look good. When you become the boss, it will be the responsibility of your team of your team members to also make you look good. If it feels like your boss doesn't know as much as you are, please, you can, in all humility, right, work with your boss to deliver for the organization. It is not yet time for you to take credit because you know it, because you can do VLOOKUP on Excel and Yemi can't do it. We are all working together. He or she is the boss at that moment. So please do not try to take the shine off your boss. In terms of your teammates as well, if they're not at a point where, if their level of competence isn't at the level of yours, please be collaborative in your work attitude, your work approach. Let them not think that if you're not around, you're not going to be able to do the job. When you're around, teach them how to do it, right? Rather than, oh, if you don't know it, I spend money to go and learn it. Go and spend your own money to learn it. No, that's not it. Have a collaborative approach to work. Okay? Any other? Viedo? That's the last one?
Okay, yeah. One more. Okay, someone said, is filling IT service a good way in making oneself relevant?
Say that again.
Is playing IT service is playing IT service a good way in making oneself relevant?
Absolutely not. I'm absolutely not. Please, IT service is a no-no. IT service is a no-no. There is no point. Okay, so I mean, there's an analogy that I give about the workplace being an animal kingdom. You're either a sheep, a donkey, a fox, or an owl. Try to not be a fox by managing perception when you're not delivering value to your organization. Please stay in the place of real value, contribution to the business, rather than eye service. Avoid eye service totally. In the places that I've worked, I didn't know the homes of my managers, and those who work with me really know where I stay. Let's not encourage it, and let's not do it. I saw a question about I have changed jobs frequently, recently resigned my job again, and now I need counseling. There is nothing wrong with you changing your jobs frequently. I promise you, out of my 26-year work history after MBA, I've done 1.8 years on every job, if I put it on an average. And it hasn't stopped me from getting another job. What is important is the story that you wrap around your frequent change of jobs. How you tell your story, the most important thing. So I'm happy for Ayokunle. Okay, this was actually Ayokunle, please, let's have a conversation. Let's have a DM conversation.
We should take this one.
Say that again. Go on.
Take this last one. Someone said, how do I deal with politics?
Politics. Be politically aware. Don't play politics, but be politically aware. I say that success is IQ plus EQ plus PQ, and PQ is political quotient. What you need to do is to be politically aware. If you're not politically aware of what's going on in your organization, you will be a victim. But don't play politics. If you play politics in your organization, ultimately you may be a victim. So please stay in the place of political awareness. Understand where the confluence of power, politics, and influence reside in the organization, and make sure that you are playing to that particular point based on what you deliver to the business.
Then from my end, that it was relevant. Someone trying to prove relevance to your team members or your managers may feel that, oh, you're trying to take eye service.
Just stay in this place of value. We all have what is called job description. We all have what is called KPIs, right? Stay with all of that and stay also in harmony with your teammates. But primarily be driven by what you need to deliver for the organization. Primarily, that's the reason we go to work every day. What you need to deliver, your job description, your KPI. But achieve all of that in harmony with your manager, with your teammates, with other people in other departments. We are all in the organization for one purpose, and that's to make sure that the organization progresses. So KPIs, job description, harmony with your teammates, and you'll be fine. No need for high service. We are first professional colleagues in the organization before we are friends. That's the truth. If we make friends, by all means, sure, works. But primarily, we are all driven by professionalism in the workplace. All right?
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I think that's all we can take tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. We really appreciate all you've shared with us tonight.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. It was awesome to be here. Thank you.